Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today I am going to share with you guys my updated makeup routine. The look itself isn't too different from what I normally like to do. I'm not big on doing a lot to my eyes or anything like that. It's really just like the flawless, glowy complexion. That's the main star of the show. And the combination of products I've been using lately, some of them are staples in my routine that I've been using for many years, but quite a few of them are new, and I've just been so obsessed with this routine. Before we jump into the tutorial, I do have to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Dossier. They make replicas of brand name designer fragrances at a fraction of the cost by cutting out celebrity marketing, retailer markups, fancy packaging, and all those other unnecessary costs that make the fragrances so much more expensive. When you order from Dossier, you're getting the same scent, same high quality, lasting power, for, in some cases, 70 to 90% less. I wear perfume every single day, but perfume can get very expensive. So that's why I love Dossier. I can get the same exact thing, but rather than having to pay like $200+ just for one bottle of perfume, I can pay like $50 or less. Their fragrances actually start at $29. The one that I'm wearing today is the Ambery Cherry, which is a replica of the Tom Ford Lost Cherry. And this smells so good. Dossier has reed diffusers as well. So I have a reed diffuser in my apartment in this scent, and I can't even explain it to you. It's like a little bit sweet, but sexy. Like it has that cherry smell. I don't know. It is just one of my all-time favorites. So if you want to try out Dossier for yourself, I will have a link and a discount code in my description. I highly recommend giving them a try. It also makes for a really great gift with the holidays coming up. They have candles, reed diffusers, and fragrances. And thank you so much, Dossier, for sponsoring this video. Now, let's jump into this makeup tutorial. I have all my makeup just in this kit, and it's kind of chaotic, so. So starting off, I just did moisturizer and SPF, but I don't have anything else on my face. So the first thing that I'm gonna go in with is the Say Glowy Super Gel in Star Glow. And this might be the last little bit. I figured this was good timing to post this video too, since I know Sephora is having one of their big sales soon. And a lot of these products you can get at Sephora. And in fact, I'm gonna be restocking this during the sale because I really like this stuff a lot. Yeah, literally that's all I have left. No. Okay, well, we're gonna just make that little bit work. It just helps your makeup glide on so smoothly, and it adds a really pretty like lit from within glow without being too shimmery or oily looking. Then the next thing that I'm gonna do is my concealer. This is the NARS Soft Matte Concealer in the shade Custard. This stuff is so full coverage, and it really does last all day long. I like to use this if I need to spot conceal any areas, which I don't know, my skin looks pretty good today. But I especially like to use this for the under eye area because look at the difference. It really covers all that darkness and any like under eye veins that you can see, and it holds really well. I've done this same exact makeup for 3 weddings now, and I cried at every single one. And my makeup held perfectly. Like you could not tell that I had been crying, and the under eyes especially stayed perfect. I like to use it with a fluffy brush and just take a little bit. Like this stuff is thick, so you don't want to apply too much. I just tap in there and then just blend it out. Then I'm gonna go in with my contour stick. This is from ColourPop. I think it's just, yes, they're no filter stick, which I think is just like a foundation stick or a multi-purpose kind of stick. And I have this in the shade Deep Dark. So I like to use this for cream contour. So I will go in the hollows of my cheeks, and I like to go in a downward motion rather than like cutting in horizontally, because that just makes my face look a little bit more slender. I have pretty like round cheeks, and a round face in general. So I don't want to make it look rounder by going in horizontally. I want to keep all of my like contour and cheek products going in more of a vertical, like upward direction. That way it's making everything look a little bit slimmer and more chiseled and like lifted. And then I put a little bit of this around my forehead, down the sides of my nose, and then along my jaw. And I try to be a little bit light-handed, especially in the perimeters. And then I am gonna take this Real Techniques sculpting brush. It's just an angled, little bit more of a stiff brush. And I like to kind of softly blend it out. Like, I'm not trying to blend it out 100% just yet, but just to keep the product in the areas that I want it to be in, but blend out the lines. So it's gonna look a little bit crazy. Trust the process. Blending out this line, and this I'm gonna slightly drag down a little bit, just underneath, like not all the way down onto my neck, but just like underneath here. So that way it creates that shadow that we want for a more snatched jaw. And I like to contour if I'm doing like a full face of makeup with like more full coverage foundation, not even to like slim my face, but also just to like add the structure back in. Because when you're doing like really full coverage foundation, it can really flatten out your bone structure and just give you the look of like a flat face, and we don't want that. We want to add all the like lines and curves and shadow and dimension and everything back in. And I've really been enjoying doing like underpainting, or is that what it's called? I think so, right? Underpainting? I don't know. But doing my contour underneath my foundation, that's why like it's okay that it looks really heavy and crazy right now, because our foundation's gonna go on top of this. And I just find that doing it this way gives you the best blend while still having the product do what you want it to do, and you can still see it, but it just is like way more seamlessly blended. Now that we have our preliminary blending sort of done, it looks crazy, I know. I'm gonna take more concealer, but this one is not as full coverage, and it's more of a radiant, glowy concealer. This is the Armani Luminous Silk Concealer in the shade 5.75. The shade I have it in is a little bit lighter than my foundation, but not by too much, because I do want the under eyes to be bright, but I want it to still look really seamless and natural. I don't want the under eyes to be looking white compared to the rest of my face. And then I'm taking a little bit down the center of my nose, on the tip of my nose, center of my forehead, a little bit on my chin. And then for my foundation, this is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. I'm in the shade 245 Classic Beige. I love this foundation. I have been using this for years. I love that it's drugstore. I feel like I always end up coming back to this one because it's just so good. The finish is beautiful. The coverage is really good. It lasts a really long time. The only thing that would make this better is if it had a pump. It's my only complaint about this foundation. But I'm just dotting this like all over and bringing it down onto my neck below that jawline contour. And then I'm taking the e.l.f. Beauty Blender. I love this. I have tried so many different brands of beauty sponges. The e.l.f. one is just absolute perfection. So what I like to do is get it, like squeeze it while I'm holding it under the faucet. And then once it's completely full with water, I squeeze it out as much as I can. And then I will take a towel or paper towel or something and just pat it on there. That way it's nice and damp and squishy, but I don't want it to be wet. Like I don't want there to be a bunch of excess water on the outside messing up my makeup. I'm gonna take this and just start blending away. And I don't do sweeping motions. I'm just pouncing. Usually, actually, I like to blend the under eyes, like that concealer first, so then that way that stays nice and bright. And I'm not bringing any of that like foundation or contour shade to the under eyes. And I really like to use the tip of the sponge to get in the inner corners to make sure I'm fully blending that. And I'm applying like pretty decent pressure, I would say. Make sure going up into the hairline and getting like all the little nooks and crannies of your face, like the creases around your nose, up into the ears, behind the ears, down onto your neck. On my neck, I'm kind of swiping because I just want to like drag this down. I'm telling you, there's nothing worse than when you're not blending out around your face, because you don't want it to be obvious and look like you have a mask. Because even if everything in the center is looking perfect and flawless, if it's not blended out of the like the perimeter of your face, it's gonna look stupid. Like, I don't even know what other way to say it. From here, once that is all blended to my liking, I'm gonna go in with this Derma Blend Loose Setting Powder. And I like to use the bottom of my sponge. Like, I'll keep one side for the powders and then the rest for like the cream and liquids. And just tapping this under my eyes and on my lids, and just keep tapping over that until all the powder is pressed in and blended out. And then anything that's left over, I'm gonna just tap onto my forehead and then down the sides, like this nasolabial fold area, and then onto my chin. I realize that my summer tan is really fading fast, so I'm probably gonna have to get a lighter foundation shade because it's not the perfect match at the moment, but it's fine. Once everything's all done and like I have my hair down, it's fine. Then I'm gonna go in with liquid blush. I've really been loving the Luminous Silk cheek tints from Armani Beauty. Full transparency, they did send these to me for PR along with the concealers. I love the concealers and I would definitely repurchase those. These are a little bit pricey, and even though I do really like them, but another option would be the Rare Beauty liquid blushes. Those are amazing and they are so pigmented that literally just one of them will last you easily like 2 years probably. These though are not as pigmented, so if you're using the Rare Beauty one, I'm telling you, you just want to do a little dot and that's it. But these are a little bit more sheer. Beautiful, like they really are beautiful and I really have been loving them, but you kind of have to use a lot to get the kind of result that I like anyway. So applied that, and then I'm gonna take this e.l.f. airbrush blender brush. Don't judge me that none of my brushes are clean, by the way. I thought about cleaning them just for this video, but then I was like, I'm just gonna keep it real. I do wash my brushes, of course, but I'm not washing them after every single time I do my makeup, you know? Like, that's just the reality. So yeah, blending that out, and as you saw, I applied it in like an upward, more vertical direction rather than like just concentrating on the apples. And I like to concentrate it more up in this area and then blend it upward. I started doing that a couple years ago and it has made such a difference, I feel like, in the way my face looks compared to when I would like just put it on the apples. My face looked a lot rounder, and then whatever's left over on my brush, I'll kind of tap on my nose. But yeah, you see how that blush, it's like It's really pretty. It adds a little something, but it's softer and a little more subtle. But it is really beautiful on the days when I'm doing lighter, more like natural makeup for work. And it makes for a really good base. That is the last liquid product that I am going to use. So now I'm going to grab a powder blush. This is the L'Oreal True Match in the shade Subtle Sable. I love this. I've had this blush for so long. You can see I've hit pan on it. I'm going to apply that over top of the liquid that I just did. Just tapping, again, upward motion towards the temples. And if you don't like the look of a lot of blush, then you can skip this, obviously, but I like a lot of blush. Then what I'm gonna do is take a fluffy eyeshadow brush and dip it into this blush, and I'm gonna use this as my eyeshadow as well. I have been loving like a monochromatic makeup look, and I also love how easy this is rather than having to, you know, use other eyeshadows and all of that. And if you are someone that isn't really great at doing your eye makeup, this is just so easy. Or honestly, you could even use your fingers to apply this. I'm going to apply a little bit of highlight. This is the Rare Beauty highlighter in the shade Exhilarate. This is so beautiful. I'm gonna take a smaller fluffy brush, and I don't like to go too crazy with this because I don't necessarily want it to look like I have a bunch of highlight on, but I do like to add that glow. And that's why I love this one. It's not too shimmery or sparkly. It really is just glowy. So I just take a little bit of that right on my cheekbone there, and I go in round circular motions to blend it out. We don't want any weird stripy lines, so that's why going in circular motions to make sure it's as blended as possible in that area. And then if you want to put a little bit, sometimes I'll put some on the tip of my nose too. Next, we're gonna do brows. This is the Alamar Brow Styler in the shade Mocha Dark Brown. My brows also are like pretty ashy, so especially when I have a full face of makeup on, they don't really pop that much. So I'm just going in the areas that are a little bit more sparse around the arch and the tail area. So just a little bit, but I mean, you see what a difference that makes. And then I like to use the spoolie on the other end to brush through to make sure there's no obvious lines. So there we go. It's still very natural and soft, but just emphasizes the brows a little bit more. Then for lips, I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lip liner. And I like to ever so slightly overline my lips, but just in the center. But then I'm gonna connect it to my natural lip line. And I fill them in just a little bit with that lip liner too. Then for my lipstick, I'm using the Revlon Super Lustrous Cream in the shade Bare Affair. This is my favorite nude lipstick at the moment. It pairs so perfectly with this lip liner. And I'm obsessed with how creamy it is. And it feels so good on your lips too. And then I'm gonna top that off with the e.l.f. Glow Reviver Lip Oil in the shade Honey Talks. I'm telling you, these three lip products go so perfectly together. I'm obsessed with this combo. We just got 2 steps left. I'm gonna take the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. Out of all of the products that I use in my routine, I would say the 2 things that make the biggest difference, this sponge, but also this setting spray. Like, this really sets it all off. Now, if your skin is super oily, I would probably set it a little bit more with some loose powder and then go in with like a more hardcore setting spray first. The one size is so good. Like, that really will lock it in all day long. But this gives the most beautiful, flawless finish and glow to your skin. And as long as you have like normal to even dry skin, this is all that you need. And you don't have to go super heavy with it, but just make sure that you are feeling every part of your face getting misted. It smells so good too. If you've been watching me for a long time, you know my little trick where I would like spray the crap out of my face with setting spray and then I would bounce over it with the beauty sponge. I don't even have to do that with this setting spray. It just looks so gorgeous and flawless on its own. And then the last thing is mascara. I like to do this at the very, very end, just so that way I don't risk it like smearing or smudging when I do my setting spray. And I love this mascara, the L'Oreal Telescopic Lift. I think this was like the Lash Gate mascara, but it really is so good. So the wand, it has a plastic wand and it's kind of like a weird curved shape. So you use the round side of the wand first to load the mascara onto your lashes, and then you turn it to the side to separate them. So pretty. And my lashes have been not the best recently, but even still, every time I put this mascara on, it just makes them look so good. And I normally like to do 2 coats, so going in with coat number 2, and then I just wait for the mascara to fully dry, and then any little spots that got a little bit messy, I just wipe off with a Q-tip, a dry Q-tip. That way it just kind of like flakes off and it doesn't smear. You don't want to re-wet the mascara because then it's gonna make a mess. Okay, so there is the finished makeup. Look at that glow. It's full coverage, but still looks really natural and just really pretty, but it also will last all day long. I will have everything that I used linked in the description, so go check that out. Also, don't forget to check out my link and discount code to Dossier. Thank you again to them for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you guys really soon in my next one. Bye.